You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
And on the line, the great Logie winning. Did you? I'll ask him if he won a Logie. He probably won 100. The great Greg Evans. How are you, my friend?
Sam, I'm fantastic. Back in the land of living.
Where are you?
Well, I'm actually back in Victoria. From last time I spoke to you, I was in Darwin.
You were.
Was away for 3 months, and I clocked up about 11,500 kilometres in the caravan.
Wow.
That's up and back down the guts of Australia, and
do you enjoy that?
Up there. I loved it just as much as you're loving what you're doing. I notice you're on Mays Island and Shaggers Rest and all those great places.
Yes.
There's plenty of things to do up north, isn't there?
Yeah. So now when you're travelling down the highway and just endless miles or kilometres of road after road, here's a question. So if you ever run over any wildlife, there's signs on the side, injured wildlife, ring this number. Do you ever ring a number if you run over a gecko?
I would. But,
you wouldn't.
But up there, but no, they eat roadkill.
Well, now, Greg,
I'm only kidding. But I went to a little outback show, and this man he had something wrapped up in silver foil in the fire, and as he gave this exhibition of, what berries and pieces of fruit that the bush offered that you could eat, and then he opened it up, and it was a kangaroo tail, and it had been cooked over the coals like a roast bud, and someone said, "Where'd you get that?" He said, "Roadkill."
Now, so you just what a great segue to this is. I've already mentioned this, and by no means am I trying to denigrate or degrade or make fun of or have a shot at. But there's a hospital in Canberra who said they're going to open an Aboriginal menu, have an Aboriginal menu and an Aboriginal dining room. What I want to know is, and I'm quite serious, what would be on an Aboriginal menu? Would it be? Please don't think I'm taking the piss. Would it be a badger or a turtle? What is an Aboriginal menu? Is it witchetty grubs or a lizard?
No, McDonald's.
Well, what do you mean? They said they'll have an Aboriginal menu. What does that mean?
Well, Sam, it'll be the same as ours, I reckon. You
think I'm making fun of it?
I don't. No.
So what is an Aboriginal menu mean?
Well, I don't know. It hasn't been clarified. They've said they'll do it, but
then they said, Greg, they'll have an Aboriginal-only dining room. And I thought, could you introduce a part? What is going on in this country? What is that about? Do you think I'm off track here?
No, I don't. And I read it and thought this is just crazy because it's just creating the divide once again. It's us and them, and it shouldn't be.
Well, I've got Suzanne looking up what an Aboriginal menu would consist of. Seriously, what is it? What does it say, Sue?
Well, they're saying that they will be featuring options like kangaroo stew. That's
right.
at least one
Kangaroos.
of them.
Yeah, kangaroo stew.
That's what they've
turtleneck soup.
There would be.
But they're allowed to...
Barramundi sweet and chili sauce with creamed potato and vegetables.
Well, so what white fellas
Curried
can't eat
sausages.
that? Why would we have to have a separate menu? Could that not be on a white fella's menu?
Savoury mince. Menu for mob, they call it.
What?
Menu for mob.
Menus for the mob.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Honestly, can you delve into being can you feign indignation about anything that's going on more than that crap? And then an Aboriginal only dining room. What is that? Could we all? I'd love to sit next to mix with. It beggars belief, mate. It just does. I don't know what's going on. Seriously. Anyhow,
we know what's going on, mate. The footy show, 30 years of the footy show, part 2, went to air last night, and I must say it was absolutely fantastic. Did you see it?
I did, because we're in reception. We're in a reception area, and I thought the only thing I noticed about it was that Channel 9 didn't put any street talk on, which was the glue that held that thing together for a decade. They didn't show any, so they must have been novel.
No, but Sam, they showed it in part 1. And the one you didn't see because you were out of television range. There was a whole segment on Street Talk.
Was there?
Very funny in part 1.
Oh, and well, so Street Talk went on in part 2 as well for the decade.
No, I know that. I mean in part 2 of this special.
Yes.
It was on last week and then this week, and so it's 2 parts. And I must say, Eddie Maguire's company did a fabulous job in producing this. I don't think anyone who watched that show last night wouldn't have got a laugh. It was hilarious. But I must say, an amazing contribution of your talent, Sam. Everyone who worked on the show, everyone who was interviewed agreed you were outstanding.
Bullshit.
And some very funny bits.
Now, I asked you earlier, I should know this, Greg, because you're a very good friend of mine. Did you win a Logie?
Yes.
Several?
And,
How many?
Well, no, I was nominated for the Gold Logie 3 times, Sam, and I didn't get it once. I kept getting knocked off. I think Rowena Wallace kept knocking me off, but there was a Logie there for Perfect Match, of course, yes.
So you won a Logie. Did you win one?
Yes.
Good. And rightly so. Should have won a gold. I asked you this has Eddie Maguire ever won an individual Logie?
I would have thought so.
You would have thought so, would you? Well,
you would have thought so.
I'm going to get Suzanne to check this. Eddie Maguire's won I know he won one for the Footy Show. If that boy couldn't win a gold Logie for his contribution and services to the industry that he's part of, and how Shane Crawford never won the Australian of the Year for what he did, running and walking from Melbourne and Adelaide and Perth.
Wasn't that fantastic when you saw it all last night?
Yeah,
some of the
fantastic.
things Shane did it. Anyway, Eddie said it was the most exciting time of his life.
He did.
The Footy Show, he did say that. And was it for you the most exciting time of your life, that 30-year period?
Yeah, the last year of the Footy Show was not exciting. In fact, it was a labour of love. I almost dreaded going in because I'd be... What I did was become completely redundant. It was just more of an info chat show rather than an opinion show. And that's all right. We had a fantastic run, and I'll be ever indebted to that station who has moved into a completely different circle of broadcasting since.
Yes,
other interests.
Hang on, Sam. Hang on. Before we get off this, 729 shows, and it was the epitome of great live television, which I think has been swept away now by reality television, which is contrived, of course. But gee, there was some funny things happened that came across as though they weren't set up. Some of them were, some of them weren't. But if I mention some names of the people that starred on that show,
yes,
just give me a couple of reactions. Gary Lyon.
A very good man and a star, and played the game beautifully. Fell on his sword when he had to, and really played the game like a trooper.
Billy Brownless.
Well, I don't think there'd be anyone in Australia that would dislike Bill Brownless. He was larger than life. He was himself, never tried to be something he wasn't, knew he was a buffoon like me, and played it beautifully.
James Brayshaw.
Very talented, articulate broadcaster, and added a touch of polish to the show Gary added polish to the show, but James was a very sharp-witted man who was gold, in my opinion, on that show.
Okay, with great balance. Shane Crawford.
Just a delightful, impish rogue, rebel. He had no fear about... He acted first and then thought about it later. Probably a bit like myself, but I was probably a little sharper than Shane, but no more intelligent, but a little sharper in what we were doing.
You should get Shane on this podcast.
Yeah, I've had Shane on.
More often.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean more often.
I should.
Jason Dunstall.
The chief, a very articulate, educated man, and The crap that we went on with him, he played the game, as I say. He's a very good operator, the Chief, and a great footballer, and was intimidating. You never know if he looked at you, if he was serious or not. But I would call him a very good friend of mine, and I hope he does the same with me.
Yes, no, they paid you great credit and great tributes last night, and I thought that was beautiful. Eddie Maguire. You mentioned Ed. Ed should have had gold.
No, he's the best. He's the best at what he does. He is world class what he does. He's look down a barrel. You could do it, Greg. You look down a barrel.
No,
but you could do it. You're articulate, smart. Look down the barrel. No idiot sheet. No cue card. No prompting. No rehearsal. Just do it. Has done extraordinary work on all the benefit shows that Nine ran, all the Olympics, the Shane Warne Memorial thing at the MCG. Did that to a couple of billion people live, without a stutter, without a false start, without faltering in any way. He is the best.
He is the best.
Have no doubt in saying that.
That's great. Oh, well, that's great. And 30 years. Now, as I say, I thought the production values of that show were great. His company did a beautiful job. It was very entertaining. And thanks for the memories, Sam.
Well, Greg, well, you have life is. Here's an interesting thing, Greg. Life is only full of memories. You know, you don't have anything else in life. You don't have the here and now, because that's us chatting. You don't know what the future holds, because that will be when we've finished chatting. And so the only thing we have in life are memories.
Yeah,
very profound.
And if any, that is profound, Sam. If anyone wants to catch up on the memories of what we're talking about, Nine now have both of those episodes, part 1 and part 2, up on their platform, and you can go and have a look at that. And I defy anyone not to watch part 1 and 2 and not get some really good belly laughs. Tell me, when they interviewed you, did you fly back from your castaway position with Sue up there on the boat, or did you do that before you left?
Yeah, no, that's they did that. I think at the start of the year. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think that's.
Okay.
I had just.
Well, I mean, you dressed up for it. It looked like as if you just come off the boat.
Well, I'm very glad you said that, Greg, because I had just come out of hospital having had my shoulder replaced, and it was all I could do was to actually put any clothes on at all. I think I came out the day they did that, and I couldn't move. I sat there. I couldn't sit up straight. I looked as though I was a bloody old pensioner just about to fall off the perch, and so I was. I hadn't taken any drugs, but I was in a degree of discomfort doing it. So So I appreciate the fact I didn't. I couldn't get any other clothes on. Now,
right. Well,
it looked like it, you were saying. Now, here's Suzanne saying, Eddie Maguire, are you?
No, I don't reckon Eddie's had a gold logie.
No, he hasn't had a gold logies. He had an individual logie for anything.
He asked me if he had a gold one. I knew he hadn't there, but they said I know James Brayshaw has reached out and said basically it's about time that Eddie was nominated for a gold logie.
Oh, seriously, if you couldn't nominate that man for... not Sailor of the Century, what's it called? Hot Seat. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Yeah. All the benefits he's done, the Olympics, the footy show. Oh, serious, if you couldn't, that is cringeworthy. That is just showing that they don't want to give him the accolades he deserves for some reason, either jealousy or just not being objective. It's a disgrace.
It is. Well, maybe a push for next year. What did you think of Sam Pang's performance as host of the Logies?
Yeah, I watched the start of that to see mainly who were the nominees. I couldn't remember who the nominees were because I wanted to have a discussion about that. I thought he was pretty good. I thought very safe, very safe, very squeaky clean. The whole. Well, I must say. When they did the thanked everyone for the use of the country and being here, that saw me off. Really?
No,
it did.
That was right at the beginning.
That's right, son. I watched Pang do the monologue, and because he introduced all the Gold Logie, all the nominees. And that was it. That saw me out, but that's all right. It's not my go. I didn't watch it when we were on it, or when I used to go to the Logies. I didn't watch it.
And you know that the winner of the gold, who won the Gold Logie?
Larry.
Larry Emder has had the other nominees tattooed to his buttock, to his derriere. He's had their initials all tattooed. An outline sketch of a Logie. And their initials are all in there, so we will never forget who were the nominees when he won gold, Larry.
Well,
did you know that?
No, I didn't, but they should have then, in that case, taken the logo off him summarily. That is just the most stupid thing I've ever heard. That is just ridiculous. He should know better. A stupid man. Having everyone's name tattooed on your ass?
Yeah.
Yeah, how
their initials.
Fucking stupid
initials.
Can you get?
That's how he reckons it meant so much to him. But people do silly things. Eddie, our mate Tony Jones has said if the Magpies didn't get into the finals, he would go and wash cars. And so now he's got to do that. So if anyone wants their car washed, Tony Jones will do it this week.
Gee, that's wow.
People open. People.
How daring of Tony. Gee whiz, that's a penalty.
Well,
what about it?
Isn't that how you jumped off that big diving board? Wasn't that one of those sort of
Well, I tell you what, I'd like to see Tony do that. Or I could go and wash. Anyone can go and wash a car. How about doing something that has some sort of risk in it, or might penalise you in some way? How about jumping out of a hot air balloon, or geez, you go off with washing cars? Seriously. If you're going to make an outlandish statement, you may as well back it up with something that gets people's attention.
Yes, that's true. You were up there, of course. I don't know how much information you get floating. I saw the fish, by the way, Sue. Congratulations. You caught a fish after all these weeks. Finally
inedible.
Caught a fish.
But we had
inedible fish.
Yeah,
it was a sucker fish.
Yeah,
it was. It sucks onto sharks and things and cleans all their impurities and
Yeah. I just, for a moment, a bad connection. I thought you said sucker. Anyway, the thing is, Sue, as a fisherwoman, you would make a good oxy welder.
Yeah, that's
just.
Oh, it's been hard work. I can tell you. I now have such great respect for any fisherman out there because, geez, it's just hard work.
The excitement that Sam showed when you caught the fish.
I did. She had a small shark on the end of it to start with. That's a fact. A little shark. And I went into a frenzy. I got half firm, which she said, "For Christ!" I said, "Let me see if I can catch some more." And I did, and I rushed up and down like a fucking chook with its head cut off.
Yep. And you didn't eat it, did you?
No, I texted. I sent a photo to someone who knows, and they said, "Oh, don't eat that." He said, "It'll make you ill." I thought, well, I wouldn't mind being ill, and just at least she caught it. I was going to eat it just to show that we caught. Yeah.
It was a strange-looking fish, I can tell you.
No, it was a strange-looking fish. Yeah. Very strange.
It had suckers on it, on its underbelly, and if you put it on the table, even when it was dead, it adhered to the table.
Really?
You had to actually physically, forcefully remove it because it had sucked itself onto the. If you've just tuned in, we're talking about sucker fish. It had sucked itself to the table.
And it was full of all this green stuff inside. It was just... Oh, it was,
if you have just tuned in, we're still talking about that. Now, Greg, I thought you might find this interesting. Only interesting because why would you bother with this? This is out of left field. The ASTM, which is the American Standard, something to do with the food. It's a food rating organisation. They have decided that ATSM number 04359-90. They've decided that peanut butter is an actual liquid rather than a solid food. My point is, who could give us stuff? What does it matter what peanut butter is? I just saw that was a big news item on the overseas news. They've just announced the revelation that the Food Branding Society or the Food Branding Organisation in America have declared peanut butter a liquid.
Oh, God.
Why would you bother?
Yep. Why would you bother?
Have you ever
Are
been?
you eating? Go on. No, I was just going to say, are you eating healthy food on the boat, Sue? How do you manage that? How do you do your exercise, your aerobics, and all of those good exercising things when you're stuck on a boat?
Oh, we're in port sometimes. It's only when we go out for a few days that you're sort of stuck on the boat. But I've got the ability to go out walking every day, and we've got some weights on the boat here, and we've got some rubber bands. And
You didn't answer Greg's question about are you eating healthy food? I want you to go. Just give Greg 5 minutes on my cooking, please.
Sam does all the cooking. Believe it or not.
And what do I cook? Fish and beautiful sprouts
steak
and steak and
steamed veggies. So we are eating very well and very clean.
Never eaten so well in my life.
So when I go to bed and reside in my room before he goes to his room, there's always a stash of I've got a stash of biscuits we got here or freckles. And I wake up in the morning. Yeah,
yeah, you want to see Sue's freckles when she brings them out of the jar. She's rationed me to about 8 freckles a day.
I count them out, but he sneaks them after I go to bed because the evidence is there in the morning with all the freckles all over the couch and the floor.
Sue's freckles. I sneak them after dark when she's in bed, and it frightens the life out of her when I come to bed. So
Celebrity Master Chef for you when you get back, eh?
I'm a star at it, mate.
I reckon you two are just settled in up there now and you might become permanent castaways. The lifestyle seems to suit both of you so well.
So, Greg, this is not a political statement. I'm very careful what I speak to you and Craig. Oh, yeah, Craig Willis dropped in on you yesterday, did he?
Yes, he did. He called in for a cup of tea and a few snot blocks. We had some beautiful
I love those snot blocks.
Oh, the vanilla slices, that was just lovely. Yeah.
In case you've just tuned in, yeah.
Sucker fish and snot blocks.
That's right, sucker fish and freckles. So I was just saying, now what was I saying? Oh, yeah, in case you think this is, I'm very careful. I have opinions about a lot of things, but I don't want to have you implicated in them because I don't want you to be inadvertently or just because you're listening to this, people think that you agree with me. So I mentioned most of the controversial things before you come on. But I wanted, now we have a lot of immigrants coming in, and we have a lot of Muslims and people from refugees from over in the war going on all over the world. And this is what the Taliban. Have a listen to this. How does the world continue, and how do we even converse with those people over there? This is what the Taliban do. This is their new. It's called. I know you're thinking, where's this headed? But this is the Taliban Ministry for Vice and Virtue. These are the rules in this day and age, 2024. Women must cover their face and body in public. Women can't sing, recite poetry or recite poems or read aloud. They're not allowed to read aloud. And thirdly, they can't look at a man unless they are related by marriage or they're a relative. If they look at a man, if they're not related to him or married to him, they suffer severe penalty. They can't sing, recite poetry or read aloud, and they must cover their face and body in public. What sort of world? What sort of world are we living in? What if we're trying to create? It is the very fact that they would put that out in a, and how many people would you think who come here or live in other parts of the world adhere to that? And no wonder there's the tension or friction if they follow the rules, those in the Quran, if they're in the Quran, if they follow those rules in countries that abhor that sort of thing, no wonder there's tension and friction going on. I know this is I'm not
No,
asking
no.
you to comment. I saw that came up on the news overseas. We're fighting and we're trying to stop. And yes, how backward? If you think that maybe if you're part of that country, you don't think that's backward. You think that's pretty fair. Comment. I don't know. I don't even know I'm asking that, Greg, because
religion, Sam. I guess there's absolutely no hope that over there they would host the International Gay Games as Victoria. No, I've just segued straight off that, bounced off that one, but you make a good point.
So
Sam,
here's the Gay Games. We've shelved the Commonwealth Games and it's cost us. Dan reckoned it was going to cost $7 billion. But
it cost us nearly $600 million to shelve the Commonwealth Games after they decided they weren't going to go ahead with it. But what hope? What hope have we got? I mean, Daniel Andrews, he dumped the Commonwealth Games. I think $580 million were wasted. Our money was wasted. So that was Daniel Andrews. How is Jacinta Andrews going to pull this one off?
And why?
With the Gay Games, a 10-day event to promote lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender sports stars.
And why all those people you mentioned, those categories, they can compete in the Commonwealth Games if they wish. They can compete in the Olympic Games if they wish. They can compete in the disabled games if they wish. Why do we have to have a second-tier sport? I've mentioned this before, they're not second-tier people, but a second-tier sport. Ask the public to cough up their tax dollars to have. That is just a nonsense. It is so obviously pandering to being a slobbering suck-up to to people who are activists. It is just so pathetic. And this is nothing against those people. It's a bit like the Aboriginal. We are all one community. Why do we have to? They'll have a separate Aboriginal game, separate gay games, separate transgender. It's just extraordinary.
I wonder what the Gay Games menu, if they had a separate menu, what would be on that?
Freckles, maybe, or
all the things that are on your boat. But the thing is, mate, the state government, this is what's happening. The state government here in Victoria, and we're probably broke here in Victoria, as you know, but they are going to send some local state politicians, the contingent that's there to pitch for this for Victoria, because they reckon we're the best at it in Victoria, and about staging these games. And they're going to send them over in October to, pitch for Victoria. But the state government won't comment on the costs or the plans being pitched. And why isn't there more transparency go on here? Why have they got to keep that a secret? They won't tell us how much it's going to cost or what their plans are. They just want to...
Because they're corrupt. They're pandering to vested interests they think will keep them in power. They have no interest in reflecting the public opinion. They are just nothing more than shills for rabid hypocrisy and completely having their snout in the public purse. They're disgraceful. These are the people that you look up to lead the country. These are the people who lead you down a garden path and end up fucking turning you over and fixing you up nicely.
Well, I cannot see the point in pitching for the 2030. It'll be the 2030 International Gay Games when we've just had to dump.
With a bit of luck, they will have thrown the state government out, and someone they'll put in and say, "Now, hang on a minute, this is ridiculous. We're not wasting money on all that crap." And as I say, it's just crap. What else are we doing?
Well, I tell you what, the home and away season's finished, and now we've got a week off. We have no football in Australia, no AFL, no Aussie rules football in Australia this week because there's that big week off before the finals start. But I don't know whether you caught up on the news. There's a bit been happening down here. Christian Petrarca wants to leave the Melbourne Football Club, so it's reported. He wants to go to maybe Collingwood or Carlton. He's disgruntled with, so it's reported, allegedly. Jason Dunstall came out with a very good comment. He said, "Now, hang on, Mr. Petrarca, why don't you just wait until the trauma of your injuries, which has affected him psychologically, goes away before you try and make a decision like that?" But he's upset and he wants out. And there's a lot of other people.
And he has a contract.
He has a contract, and the Melbourne Football Club have said, "No, we're not letting him go." Well, how's that going to work? If you've got a player who wants to leave and a club who says no, how can that player perform at his best standard when he's, forbidden from leaving?
And what's the point of having a contract?
That's it. And speaking of people going from one place to the other, don't know whether you know, Shane Corns has left Channel 9 to go to Channel 7.
No, Kane.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I beg your pardon.
Yep.
Kane Corns. Yes, I beg your pardon. Kane is off to Channel. He's left Channel 9, and they did a great job on that Sunday Footy show, and now he's off to Channel 7
he's been
to
poached.
join the broadcasting. Poached.
Was he going to broadcast, is he?
Team. Yes, he's going to broadcast.
Like as in call the game or do comments?
Well, I don't know. The broadcast team, you would expect special comments, but the commentary team. He'll join the commentary team.
Well, there we are. So that's coming up next year.
That's next year, yes. And I don't know whether you caught up, but Michael Voss, did you hear what he's done?
I was speaking to Doug Hawkins, and he said that he lumbered a couple of youths who pinched a car.
They did, and he was just quietly reminded me of that Ron Barassi incident, from decades ago when Ron tackled a bloke. But there was Michael having a coffee on the sidewalk, and there's this car comes screaming around the stolen car, and tips itself over and hits a tree, and out jumped the youths, and away goes Fossey after him, tackled one of them, got him to the ground along with the restaurant owner, and the offender was apprehended. Michael Voss. Dun, 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 dun. I thought that was pretty good.
Extraordinary, and more extraordinary that they let them out on bail.
Well, now, mate, that's a whole new category, isn't it? I mean, people in Victoria and Queensland, of course, are just bemused by the fact that a teenage crime, they will commit a crime, a 12-year-old will commit a crime and in the morning and be out on bail by the evening re-offending.
So why don't they do what they've done in America in certain instances? Why don't they round their parents up and incarcerate them? Well, they've done that in America. They hold
I think that's...
Yep.
I think that's a great idea. I think that is and I think that's probably one of the only ideas. Don't know how you get that past the do-gooders, but I think the parents could and should be held responsible for their underage
activities.
Look, otherwise, we talked about the Northern Territory and the territory election, where the Country Liberal Party has been has been put into power up there, and consequently, the first thing that their new chief commissioner wants to do, chief minister, is lower the age to 10. And what does Jacinda Andrews want to do here? Lift it to 14.
So we're living amongst and being run by genuinely mediocre people who have no genuine interest in the rank and file. They just make decisions based on knee-jerk reactions that keep them in power, and they preach to the denominators that keep them in power. They have no real social interest at all in what's going on in the country or the state, or you wouldn't run it like it is being run.
Yeah. Sam, I'm interested. You mentioned the fact that the parents being responsible happens in the United States. Is it working?
Someone took a gun to their son. Took a gun to school, and I'm not sure. I think shot 4 people, killed 4 people, and they apprehended the parents and they put them in jail because they said that they the boy had the gun in his room, and he'd been posting crap on the thing, and they knew about it, and they'd done nothing to rein him in, and they held them culpable for his actions. I know that's a pretty extreme case, but if you drag the parents into those 16-year-old kids who pinched the car and said, "What's going on? Maybe we should take the kids off you altogether if you can't control them."
Or get the parents to pay some fines and be responsible for their kids.
Yes, fine them for graffitiing if you can lumber the people. Take them home and say, "Well, there you are. Why don't you cough up to have this cleaned up?"
Look, I agree with you, but there's plenty of people more educated on child psychology than us that would say, no, that won't work, because one of these kids on the news a couple of weeks back was, from a very affluent suburb, from Brighton, and went to a private school, and the parents had no control over him.
So who would be more qualified than you and I to make a decision about those sort of things, child psychologies?
Yes,
who would be
psychologist.
Who would be more able to decide? I reckon I'd have a pretty good idea of deciding if someone was psychologically capable of doing something or not. Wouldn't have a lot of degrees and letters after me name, but I reckon we could sort it out pretty quickly.
Yes, experience, I guess. No, there's a bloke up here, mate, who used to build roads, and his name's Tom Apps, and he was working for the council, and he built these roads for years, 40 years, 50 years he's been building roads, and he said, well, I had to give it away because he said the young bloke came out of university with a degree, and he'd never built a road before, but he had the degree and he had the bit of paper. And we went out there to lay some tar on a local dirt road, and I said to him, "You're using the wrong foundation stone. You're not doing it right." And he said, "Tom, you're a dinosaur. You passed it. I've just come out of university. I've got the certificate." And Tom said, well, if you build the road the way that certificate says you should, he said, there'll have potholes in it within a year because of the drainage. And Tom was cast off to the side. The new young engineer with a certificate did it his way. The road was knackered within a year, potholes and everything. And Tom no longer builds roads because the young bloke with the certificate has pushed him out.
And, of course, maybe that's design rather than an accident, so that the job then of repairing the potholes goes to hand-me-down people who are in on the food chain, and they come and repair the road. It's like it's a bit like the Australian government. I think now, is it the Victorian or the Australian government are going to forgive student debt? So you have your parents, or you stump up money to be educated, and you do the right thing, and suddenly, with a gratuitous stroke of the pen, so that they keep you, this is about electioneering, and so that they just give you a sweetheart thing so that you'll say, I'll vote for that, I'll keep you in power if you'll forgive our student debt. But don't worry about all the people who've done the right thing in the past. We are pork-barreled at every turn in life, Greg. And luckily, I'm coming to the end of what I have to put up with. But we have to put up with a lot. Are we living in a great country? We are. Are we living in a shocking state? We're living in a shocking state. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you this. The amount of third and fourth generation people, Australians, who have moved up to this area is, and they say the population of Victoria is going up, and Melbourne, the greater satellite cities in Melbourne are going up and up, but it's all through immigration. But all the third and fourth generation people moving up here, they're getting out of Victoria because it's being run like it is by successive shocking governments, the Andrews government and now the Allen government.
Yep, can't argue with any of that.
All right, my friend. Well,
just before you go,
yes.
one quick thing, just to make your eyes water about money. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez are in the divorce court, big dollars, because they didn't file any prenups before, so he's entitled to 2 years, half of the 2 years of her earning. Guess how much Jennifer Lopez earns a year?
No.
$59 million a year. So double that, and that's what, $118 million. So he's entitled to half of that. And they had to put, for this divorce settlement, they had to put their house on the market, and their house was worth $101 million.
Yeah, and Ben would be cowardly enough to accept the money. He's nothing more than a star fucker, and he should be routed. He should be run out of town with a pack of dogs after him. Nah, seriously, Christ. What would you... God almighty. Why did he marry her?
He married her for love. This is their second wedding anniversary, and she's filed divorce on their second wedding anniversary.
Mm. Yep.
So I didn't. Yeah. Well, so Ben Affleck, hey. So he's off the Christmas card list for you.
Well, would you take 50 mil off the? What did he do to help a career? What did he do? What did he contribute? Just was a hanger on.
Yep.
Do you have his phone number, Greg?
No, thank you, Sue. Good stuff. Ring him up.
Well,
give him a call.
Well, I'd be delighted to speak to Ben Affleck. I was
meaning for myself.
Oh. Well, so. Hang on. I was just reading about an Indian man. I was just here. An Indian man who's a trillionaire, and all these people who gave him presents. He was given yachts. Oh, I can't. It's an audio thing, so it was sent to me. Jeff Bezos gave him a $25 million yacht. Yeah, so that's as a birthday present or a wedding present. I can't. It makes no sense if I can't actually. The who's who of the elite tried to outdo each other by giving him more and more expensive presents.
But money doesn't buy happiness, though.
It's. I tell you what, that makes a good start. Tell you what, yeah.
Well, continue, kids, to live the dream up there. It's looking fantastic, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to both.
Good on you, Greg, you bloody star. We'll speak again.
See you, Sam.
All the best, my friend.
Cheerio.
Bye.